So this is, let me quickly change the chapter number. Okay, today in this video we are reading the chapter uh, 2962. Okay, which is named Mordret of Nowhere. So, brief of previous chapter was Mordred attempting apostasis and trying to become a spirit, and he absorbed almost all of his vessels and the tiny skull fragments he had used to make those vessels, and he also absorbed his reflections as well. Now Mordred had multiple soul cores, maybe like 30, 40, 50 soul cores, and it was said that all the soul cores shattered into tiny shards, and then all the shards were pulled together to the eye of the storm. And that's where the last chapter ended, and we are going to read chapter number 2962, and which is named Mordred of Nowhere. Let's start reading. The ancient tower groaned as impossible force clashed beneath the surface of the world. Within the king of nowhere, his will and the sorry, uh, the chapter name is Moderate of Nowhere. Okay, within the king of nothing, his will and the inevitability of his demise clashed in a furious conflagration of force, both his soul and the world around him suffering from the fallout. Cassie was pushed back, slammed into the wall of the Ebony Tower with enough momentum to make obsidian dust rain from above. In front of her, Mordred was attempting to form a new soul core, a sacred soul core from the vast nebula of luminous stars that spun in the eye of the storm, ravaging his soul sea. His will was like a tyrannical force of attraction, subjecting the shattered cores to an impossible pressure. Crushed by it, the shards were slowly fusing into a diamond like spear. And all the while his soul was crumbling, held together only by his ferocious determination to live, to be something instead of dissolving into nothingness and disappearing forever. There had to be more to it, some secret that Mordred knew, some mystery he had discovered in his journeys. While Cassie had not, she could not even guess what it was. All she could do was wait and observe, surrounded by darkness. In her mind, the ruins describing Mordred were changing slowly. They read: rank supreme, class nothing, class is blank, soul course 0 out of 7, 1 out of 7, 0 out of 7. Okay, is making soul cores and they are being destroyed as well. It was as if even the Nightmare spell did not know how to interrupt the liminal state of his crumbling soul. Mortals were going to die. He was meant to die, and yet, as time passed, he did not. The Ebony Tower continued to quake as somewhere outside the respawn drew closer and closer to the tower. The demon of desire, moderate. Excellent. What? Wait a minute. The Ebony Island continued to quake as somewhere outside the dreamspawn drew closer and closer to the tower. Wait a minute. आई जस्ट नोटिस कि भाई गाना ऑफ हो चुका है यार, गाना ऑफ हो चुका है, मैंने लूप में नहीं लगाया। ओ मैंने लूप में नहीं लगाया यार, आई एम वेरी सॉरी भाई, वेरी वेरी सॉरी, मैंने लूप में नहीं लगाया। अब मैंने दोबारा लूप लग कर दिया है। यस, अभी हाई पिच आएगा तो वो दोबारा आपको सुनाई देगा। आई एम वेरी वेरी सॉरी फॉर दैट। The dreams drew closer and closer to the tower of the demon of destiny. Mordred, meanwhile, staggered and sank to his knees. A tortured groan escaped through his lips. Groan turned into a growl and then into a maddened laugh. It sounded like he was greatly amused. The soul storm raging within him only grew more furious as the nebula of the brilliant stars spun faster and faster and faster still, all of them being crushed into the shape of a spear and reforged under obliterating pressure, solidifying into something new, something vast, something unfathomable, into the course of a deity. Struggling to remain upright, Cassie drew a shallow breath. Was he really going to succeed? She did not know. I don't know. But she had a suspicion. His ruins continued to change, describing a state of cosmic uncertainty. Rank supreme. Uh, oh, ranks. Oh, matlab, my god, my. It's slowly transitioning from supreme to sacred. Like it's what it is supreme, then su me, and then sacred, like this. In her mind's eye, it was as if two sets of ruins were superimposed over each other, both struggling to outshine the other. But at the same time, the ruins describing the number of modest soul cores were arriving at a less ambivalent state. These seemed to be two sets of them as well, but one was gradually displacing the other. The shimmering of these ruins were growing brighter, while the glow of the other set was growing dimmer and dimmer, ready to disappear altogether. Soul cores 0 out of 7, 1 out of 7, 1 out of 7, 0 out of 7, 1 out of 7, 1 out of 7, 1 out of 7. Until the second string of ruins were completely gone. Cassie forgot to breathe. There, in the darkness surrounding her, a string of ruins blazed with a blinding radiance, its silver glow painted in hues of pale gold. Soul cores 1 out of 7. Finally, मतलब I mean, बहुत सारे I am talking in Hindi. After destroying multiple soul cores, he has finally arrived on a single soul core. I hope, or not hope, or whatever, but I am really interested to see if it is of a sacred rank. The ruins remained the same after that. There, in Modest Soul, the colossal soul core was almost fully formed. Its outer layer was still in flux, permeated by fractures that were slowly fusing into a monolithic whole. But its heart had already become stable, and as the soul core achieved a state of equilibrium, its presence began to affect his soul in a benign manner. Instead of destroying it, the force that had been tearing Murder's soul apart now served to stabilize it, exerting a force that held the crumbling pieces together, serving as a spiritual anchor that prevented it from coming undone. Cassie's eyes widened. The ruins changed once more, rank sacred, sacred, sacred. And then, after a long moment of shifting ambiguously, the glow of ruins suddenly became firm and brilliant, unshakable. The ruins said, rank sacred. Cassie leaned on the wall holding her breath. She was stunned. He did it. He actually did it. There was a long moment of silence. Everything in the world seemed to glow still. The invisible force pressing Cassie back seemed to grow weaker, and countless items floating in the air were on the verge of falling down. He did it. Cassie opened her mouth, wanting to say something, but then a terrifying premonition suddenly grasped her heart, and a tense sense of weariness flooded her mind. And a moment later, a harrowing scream shattered the silence, making her clutch at her ears. It was Mordred. Mordred was screaming. Why was he screaming? Some kind of backlash of forcing apostasis. His voice was full of such indescribable agony that it cut Cassie like a knife. What is, what could have made King of Nothing, who remained nonchalant while thousands of his vessels were being slaughtered in a myriad of ghastly ways, scream that way? Cassie could not see, but if she could, she would have witnessed a subtle change happening into the enormous soul core shining brilliantly in the somber sky of his inner realm. There was a flaw in its radiance now, having appeared there at some point. There was a tiny, barely noticeable drop of darkness in its very heart. However, that drop of darkness did not remain small for more than a moment. It expanded with a dreadful speed, growing like a virulent tremor. The tenderness of the wild darkness pierced his heart of modest soul core like veins, and then snarked outwards, permeating its entire great mass. The fractures that had almost fused were gone now, and the outer layers of the core began to crumble as its heart was being consumed by the darkness, by the corruption. Why? What the hell? Why? How the hell is water being corrupted? Mordred's chilling, inhumane screams echoed in the great hall of the Ebony Tower like a deafening litany of curses, making Cassie shiver from a terrifying cold. And in her mind's eye, the ruins changed once more. He was turning back to Supreme. What? In the last lines, it's written Gr. Oh, because he was getting corrupted. The supreme equivalent of corruption is great. So his rank was getting great. And finally, the strings of ruins described him as a supreme being began to falter, while new strings began to take its place. Cassie stuttered when she saw the new strings of ruins, which was gradually becoming the only one. The ruins told her something that she could hope never to hear. They said, "Rank, great." She froze, feeling stunned, not ready yet to comprehend the meaning of what she saw. It was at that moment that the island quaked one last time, more violently than before, and something broke down the great gate of the Ebony Tower by sending it flying inwardly and crashing into the floor. That's it. That's it. Mordred is now corrupted. He is now a great titan. But will that or does that? No, 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 that should not affect his other counterpart of the kindred, as people say, the good red or the kindred, because as I know, he was a saint. Despite them being the same person, they had different soul cores. So he, but they knew the same things, I guess. So he could be corrupted, he could not be corrupted, but if they, I don't see how they are planning to keep Mordred in the story by him becoming corrupted, because corruption generally causes you to lose your intelligence, and if you're not that intelligent, how can you converse with a person? I think that it has finally come the time that we will finally get kindred to kill the Mordred we know, and the Mordred will become whole once again, being able to feel uh, empathy and goodness and etc. But still, how did he became corrupted? I mean, uh, I guess it could be a backlash of him trying to forcefully reach a spirit, but still, how could be, because to be corrupted, you have to consume the knowledge of corruption. Okay, uh, you have to see it or know it, and that's how you become corrupted. But I don't know. Maybe they will explain it later. But that was an epic chapter for now, and I'm I'm very tired of, it's too much to handle right now. So I will take a break here, and this will be it for this video. And thank you for watching this video. And if you want to watch more of this content, the content like this, I also do a read through of Lord of the Mysteries from the very start, from chapter 1. So if you want to watch that, you can go on the channel, watch that, and subscribe if you like more of this content, so that I can see the future videos. That's it. Goodbye, and I hope I see you in the next video.